Just making sure.
All right.
Okay, fancy slide. Let me unmute and get you mic. Julie, you want to just do the intro?
Oh, who's this?
Mm-hmm.
We're not sure if they're really running.
Well, I don't even know if they're on the ballot or not.
Okay.
Who's to know who that is?
I
But
was
they
like,
aren't here tonight.
I want to meet her.
So in terms of the people who showed up tonight for District 1, we have only had Susan Lee who answered our survey.
Go Susan.
So she is the only one up for consideration tonight. It is not like a guarantee that we're going to endorse, right? We still are going to vote whether to endorse on this process. So Susan Lee will have the opportunity to, say her piece and have her 4 minutes to introduce herself and her campaign, as well as 6 minutes for open questions, just as all the other candidates did in this format. The other candidates who are part of this is a seat with a Democratic incumbent, Christopher Marte, who has been there since 2021. The other candidates include Ursula Jung and Pui Stewart on the Democrat side, and Helen Cree on the Republican side. This district is Lower Manhattan, Tribeca, Chinatown. I think like half of Soho's in there. It's very, very downtown, and we happen to be in it right now. So it's only fitting that we would have a candidate from the district where we have our meeting come and speak. So without further ado, I will swing this to Susan Lee.
Thank you, Newly Dems, for having me here. My name is Susan Lee, candidate for City Council District 1. This is a very impressive breakdown. I've never gone to a endorsement meeting or screening with this information. Thank you. I mean, that's what my candidacy is about, data, right? Running on data, because data gives us information to inform us about our policy. So I'll give you a little background about myself. I am a kid of New York City public school system. Parents came here when I was 6 years old from Hong Kong, and we lived in the Lower East Side, coming from a working class immigrant family where sometimes you struggle to put food on the table, but they believe that education was the pathway to success, pathway out of poverty. And so I grew up with really strong beliefs and principles on hard work and doing what's right, integrity, leading with compassion. And I think that is what we need in a city council member. And one of the things that I look forward to doing is provide constituent services to my community, because I know that a lot of times that's the bread and butter of what a city council member should do. I am your public servant, and so it's really important that I serve you, my constituent. I went to Brooklyn Tech, specialized high school, went on to Barnard College, and I went on to get my master's in public administration with a concentration in public finance from NYU. So right now, with all the cuts that we're talking about in government, I think it's really important to have someone that really understands finance and be able to balance a checkbook, because I think sometimes we have a lot of activists out there who don't have the real life skills necessary to really analyze data. And that's why I'm really impressed that you guys have data up there, because I live and breathe data. Data is really important to me. And I founded several nonprofits, one of which I'm really proud of is Know Me Network, which we work to try to end modern day slavery through workforce development and women empowerment for people that we rescue from the sex trade in India, Cambodia, and our latest chapter opened in Dallas, Texas. I'm no longer on the board because they have government contracts, and to avoid any conflict of interest, I stepped down. But I'm really proud of the work that we've done. Most recently, I founded an organization called SDR Park Alliance. We got $3.3 million grant from Governor Hochul's office for the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, which is really important to me because when you live in New York City, especially Lower Manhattan, your apartment is really cramped, and green space and open space, public space is really important because it is the extension of your home. So I'm really proud of the work that I've been a part of, and I hope to bring that to City Council. So it's really an honor to be here to speak to you all. I heard great things about you guys, and I'm excited to hear what kind of questions you have for me.
Oh yeah, I want to ask a question.
Can you pass the mic?
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
make sure that
sorry.
Mhm. Yeah, it's okay.
On Zoom, no worries.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
hey, so hey, Susan, this is Chris. Hey, I'm Christopher Leon Johnson. I want to know, like, what I know that. What is your take about the closing of the jail up in Upper Manhattan, Little Park, not that far from here? What's your take on the jail? Because it looks like everybody's for the jail, but your opponent, like Marte, is act like he's against the jail, but he just like he's trying to linger on to causes that had nothing to do with him. So I want to know what your response to that.
Well, let me tell you, my commitment to fighting against borough-based jail is unwavering. I was one of the first of the Chinatown 10 to be arrested, while others sat on the sidelines saying they can't afford to be arrested because they can't miss a meeting. And let me tell you, I was in training to be an auxiliary police officer, and my captain said to me, if you get arrested that day, we will kick you out of the program. And you know what? Chinatown's worth fighting for. So I got arrested, got kicked out of the program. And that's fine because Chinatown is important to me. And I don't think, if you look at the numbers, borough-based jail can only hold 3,300 inmates. The projected number for inmates by 2024 by Commissioner Molina is 7,000. So you look at the numbers and you're thinking, how are we going to back that math up? Where are we going to put the excess? So, you know, that's a question that we need to talk about. And I think that there needs to be reform in the criminal justice system, no doubt. But I think we also need to reform the adjudication process. How we've been through COVID, we've worked from home. How about having video conferencing? How about having courts at Rikers to speed up the process? You know, if you're telling me that you want to build jails because it's closer to the courthouses, but you're spending all this money transporting inmates, I come from a finance background. Let's cut the waste.
Yeah.
Move the jail to Rikers.
Yeah, let me ask another quick. Before me, one more question.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it. Don't get you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You
So-
only get 2 this time.
All right, cool. All right, okay. All right. One more question. I want to know what's your take about the incumbent Marte stance on defunding the police.
This is where I stand on his take on defund the police. He likes to play word salad. He will say that he is not for defund the police, but however, he signed the Progressive Caucus pledge to do everything in their power to reduce the size and scope of NYPD. So I'm a grant writer, and I will tell you that that is word salad. Basically, if you want to translate it, it means he will defund the police. If you're reducing someone's size and scope, that means you're reducing their budget. So I do believe that the criminal justice system, we need work. We need a holistic approach. I believe in community policing, which means that the precinct works with the community to address safety concerns and quality of life issues. But also at the same time, I'm not going to tell you that we don't have a mental health crisis in our city. I think our city needs to invest in a holistic approach where we can really tackle the mental health crisis so that we're really serving the most vulnerable amongst us. And I think that it's not it's a false narrative to have one or the other. We can have both.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry.
So I've been to Chinatown recently, and what I did notice was a lot of businesses were closed. Like businesses that I enjoyed before COVID that were great are now closed. And I know that the pandemic hit Chinatown really hard, but do you have any plans to, like, particularly for you to help revitalize Chinatown that Marte hasn't done?
Well, young man, let me tell you this. I'm 44 years old. A lot of the restaurants that I used to frequent has since closed. And that is a tragedy for me because it brings back nostalgia of me growing up in Chinatown, going to these restaurants. And one of the things that I want to push forth is really supporting these nonprofits in the community, such as Renaissance Economic Development. They inject much needed capital into these small businesses that a lot of the marginalized community have a hard time getting loans for. So this is what I think is really important, is to have that injection of money, capital in there and promote small businesses, entrepreneurship. I think that that's really important. And one of the things that I find amazing right now is the young people are so creative. They are risk takers. And if you just nurture that, we will have a revitalized economy. And I think that that's what we need to do, is encourage growth. And through, stimulus packages, through SBS perhaps.
Question. Two questions. One, do you support the campaign to replace Jay Jacobs, the party chair of the state, after the results of the last general election?
That's a tough one. I didn't really think of that. But yeah, can I get back to you on that?
Sure,
one?
sure. And then my second question is about, I'm now forgetting. Nope, I forgot it. Okay, we have one on Zoom here.
Okay.
If you had to prioritize police budget versus like constituent services budget, which of those two is your priority?
Constituent services. So when I was at Barnard College, I interned with Councilmember Ronnie Eldridge, and she has a public radio show now. And one of the things I remember, every Friday, this guy would call and complain about this freaking pothole. And every Friday he would call, and I would say to Ronnie, like, it's the same pothole. She's like, call DOT, get on it. And then we fixed the pothole, and he called, and I was like, why are you calling? And he's like, no, thank you, because now I can sleep. Because every time a truck goes over the pothole, it makes this banging noise, and it wakes him up from his sleep. And so I'm thinking, like, okay, you know what? Like, that guy was annoying, but I, by calling DOT, gave him an opportunity to have sound sleep. I think that's really important. I think that if we address a lot of the issues that our constituents have, it would bring down a lot of their stresses. It will help with their mental health. And I think that at the end of the day, we really need to address that head on.
I thought of my second question.
Okay.
I think this will have to be our last question, unfortunately. But Christopher Marte is seems like a strong opponent. What is your sort of pitch against him, and then your path to victory?
Oh, am I allowed to share my path to victory?
I mean, you don't have to give us the first thing, like what's the general strategy?
Tell us your whole
He's
strat.
live streaming, so I'm gonna withhold that
Sure.
because he's live streaming, and I don't want to. I mean, it's my campaign strategy, and
We're also recording, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would be not wise for me to share it, but I will say this. I ran in 2021, and it was an open seat. 9 candidates ran for an open seat. Christopher Marte won. 2023, I have 3 of my previous opponents supporting me. That speaks volume. Former opponents backing me, endorsing me, because they believe that Chris is not doing a very good job. So I came to this mindfully. I did not announce my candidacy until February because I wanted to make sure that I have full support of the community. So that is my strength right now, is I am able to galvanize and build coalitions with people that were against me, and now they're with me. So I think that is, my path to success.
Thank you so much. And that concludes all of our candidates' stuff.
Thank you. It's been such a